Where you look this over and I thought this was a really good example of, I don't know why that one line is highlighted right now, but an example of what you want to put in your application. So she doesn't talk about the project very much. She talks about her role, and you can pick out some key words here that are leadership roles, plus addresses a lot of each of those management plans, those 10 component plans of the project plan. So as the event director, primary objective was to produce catering and water transportation for this gala. How fun is that? Must have been a boat component to it here. $30,000 catering budget. I led, so responsibility word, leadership role, all aspects of catering, staffing, water transportation, execution of a 500 attendee gala on an island. To ensure the success of this event, not necessarily needing that clause, I developed a comprehensive scope management plan after initial consultation with stakeholders. You can see the involvement, what she's doing, keywords here, stakeholders, management plans. The plan was instrumental in aligning project goals with expectations. Not necessarily needed, but she wants to show how that plan was real important that she was part of. Coordinated and facilitated regular meetings with stakeholders and vendors. Management, project management responsibilities there. So I said, you may not want to say coordinated and facilitated. They sound alike. You may want to say coordinated and, or that was the only suggestion, two different. Oh, no, I said coordinate and facilitate. She had another word that meant coordinate. So I'm like, oh, they sound too much alike. Maintain effective communication, ensure everyone's on the same page. Implement cost saving strategies, successfully manage the budget, led risk assessments. So yes, you can see she used like management words and she's talking a lot about the different areas of a project. And so I think it makes it really successful when you can say, I dealt with, when you can address those 10 management plans. And you don't have to put all of them in, right? So she has 3 different write-ups to account for 36 months. If you can hit just a few, because as PMI told me, look, we don't have geniuses reading these things. So make it obvious that these are the parts of a project. I worked on these parts and I had some sort of responsibility. I had some leadership role somewhere in that. And so if you can highlight that, your application is going to fly through. So up until just 2 weeks ago, the only people I know who got audited were the ones that didn't have this very clear. The person reading it couldn't clearly determine whether they had a leadership role in projects or not. But now lots of people are being audited. She got audited. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, I think PMI must be up for accreditation. And they have to show a certain percentage of keeping the standard. This is odd that so many people are getting audited right now.
Two quick questions. Do they require you to submit an eval to support? I mean, it's very military thing.
No.
But okay.
No. So if you get audited, you have to give them the names of people who worked on this project with you, who could verify that what you're saying is true.
Oh, okay.
Is what you'll need to do if you get audited. So you may want to think about names, phone numbers, emails. Chris, what did you need to provide to them?
Amy Jones. I just had to provide contact information for each individual who could verify I did what I said I did.
Yeah, email and phone, or just one way?
I did phone numbers for everybody.
Phone numbers.
So vets to PM, right, had me fill that stuff in their spreadsheet, right? So then I was just prepared.
You use the vets to PM.
If you have a contact.
So vets to PM is a website you can go to, and they have an Excel spreadsheet that you can download.
Right.
That will help you design your application.
Ah, got it.
So let's say, and in there, if you wanted to say, all right, I ran a range, right? They've got one that you click, I ran a range, and it fills the whole thing in. And then you just have to go in and change the names to protect the guilty, right? So they write this whole paragraph. And if I remember correctly, the paragraph, max number of it's like 250 is the max number of like words you could put.
It's changed now.
500.
It's changed. You can put a lot in. Yeah, it's changed now. You can add more.
200 to 500, 200. No, that's
why.
100 to 500.
Had something that
And it
was.
was, those is 200
But-
at least long, I think is what I was playing around with filling it out.
That's probably why you got out of it. Yeah.
So I didn't know Vets to PM had something that was open to everybody. And online, we're putting it in the chat. It's
That's who it's on.
the Victor, ETS Sierra, the number 2. That's 2 and then PM.com. Great organization, but I didn't realize they had resources just open, but if they have that tool open, they have how to complete your application in 60 minutes. It's a guide, but I think you may have to have been enrolled in their class to get that. Go look on their website and see what tools you can find out there.
The other thing that held me up a little bit when I was in the application is you have to have X number of months, 36 months, 34 months, something like that of experience, right? Of project management. But if project A is overlapping with project B, you don't get credit for both times, right? So if like for 1 year, I was doing 2 projects, both were 12 months, both start date and end date with the same date. Can't use both projects,
Good to know.
right? So your project has to, it can't,
36 months, they don't overlay, you don't get credit for
But
2
you-
projects in 2 months. Doesn't count as 2 months. It's still just 1 month.
Is there a timeline that you can go back?
8 years.
Oh,
So you can go back 8 years. So my project, I had an 18-month project and then I had like a 12-month gap. And then I had another project that was longer. So I just filled up the rest of the time. But there was like an 18-month gap between my 2 projects. Yeah, you can go back 8 years. Okay, any other questions? Any questions online? Thank you guys for being so interactive. I'll have more coffee. We start next Friday. We'll do a little review and pick up, we'll do a little review of EVM. I'll find out some more information for you as I can about facility test questions with,
I've been doing.
I'll do formula.
The last Wednesday of every month, there's a PMP lunch where PMP guys get together and just talk about the application process and all that other stuff. Next one's on July 30th. And then I'll bring my application paragraphs in so you guys.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Thanks, guys. Great weekend. See you on Friday.
They're more upfront. Like predictable things, or not necessarily predictable, but things that we think of in the future. Or like,
Yeah, so you can't pre-plan issues. They're popping up. Right? But risk you will continue to identify throughout the project.
What then?
You'll just
Yeah.
keep them on. As you get out to them.
look at it.
Well, yeah.
Struggle with.
In the flying, ain't gonna be no fun. This is fun and fun, but it's like a 40% chance. You're not flying. Yeah, we drive.
Totally.
We're so hard, so, and that's pretty tough. Or, especially they were. Her direction was issues or for you as a contractor, issues internal to. And then get risk from it. External, like.
Yeah, and you need to come early.
That's how, that's how I addressed it. So if there's something
Okay.
internal, something going on that we had an issue with.
I'll shoot you a text on Sunday.
What I-
Okay,
And if there's a risk, it was something that I needed outside. help.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like the government that be involved.
Like, I just love taking the either. There was kind of a
which would make
thing is, so for the heroes, that's.
risk owners,
Right.
which.
But as they take a lot of the training.
Like.
I don't either.
Okay,
Well, so we did.
Yeah, well, do they usually?
So sometimes they'll try to break it down into space and it'll stay for like 3 space.
I mean, she says.
That's understandable.
It's just still out
What
there.
do you mean it's down? Their maintenance.
I tell you.
Air wings.
I got this slide.
Per somebody, so, because they did self-service for these things. So yeah, it's inspection. Self-service next time to 3 days. Now, but they say longer than that, then they're supposed to have a planner go with you that can sign. Yeah, and there's this, like, if you sign it, and I'm gonna QA it, I'm gonna sign for my own aircraft. So the maintenance, like, there's no independence, so it can move this issues.
So-
It